Good evening, everybody, and welcome back to the League Racing TV YouTube channel for round 3 of Season 2 of TTML Division 3. My name is Aidan Carter, otherwise known as Commentus. I'll be taking you through Division 3 proceedings as always, and as always, joining me in the commentary box for Division 3 is TTG Conti. Conti, how are you doing, mate?
I'm doing really, really well. How about yourself?
I'm doing very well, thank you. Obviously, we had a little bit of chat going on earlier on, just bought my new wheels, so I've been experimenting with that over the past couple of days, and along with that as well, it's just been a good week, really, hasn't it? Well, I say that, it's been a good week. The UK's just started their second lockdown phase, so that's obviously not been a highlight of the week so far. But in terms of league racing side of things, it has been a good week of league racing so far. I had a great couple of races last night in the Sprint League, and we're looking forward to some more good racing here in Division 3. We'll just run you through quickly what happened last time around in China. So last time out, Lighty won the race on track, but unfortunately a late race penalty for him meant that he dropped to third place, so the win was inherited by B Morgan in the Renault. That's the second season in a row where the Renault has won the second round of the championship. Old School as well, second place. That's the second season in a row where Old School has finished second in the second round of the season, so they're keeping up a good streak at the moment. And out of 4 podium slots for the first 2 races, we've had 4 different podium sitters. No one has repeated a podium as of yet. We'll have to wait and see if anyone can repeat that tonight, or whether we get 3 new people onto the podium. We've got a lot of drivers here today that could be able to do that. And then looking at the championship standings as well after the second round, Hero Jokin started at the back of the field once again, wasn't quite able to work his way up into podium contention, but I believe ended up, I want to say, with a P7 finish last time out, which that's a pretty good result anyway. He still leads the championship, only by 2 points though, over Simply Superman, and then it's B Morgan in third place after his first win. Old School's up to 4th after his first podium. Kiki in 5th. He was battling for the podium until a late race spin cost him plenty of points. He should have been, without that, probably maybe in 2nd, maybe even in the lead of the championship. Lighty up to 6th. Jan drops to 7th. Isotopic in 8th. TTG Alex in 9th, and Sean rounds off the top 10 in the Red Bull. It's been a pretty enthralling season so far, with 6 different podium sitters out of the 2 races we've had so far. Do you think we could see 3 new podium sitters again tonight?
Yeah, who knows? I mean, we saw Kiki last week, unfortunate spin, but overall, yeah, it's really close again. We had it last season. There were 3 top guys behind that, really close, and now overall the pack. I mean, first to 5th is 10 points, so incredibly close. A lot of contenders, and yeah, who knows what happens.
Yeah, who knows what could happen. After the first 2 rounds as well, qualifying is going the way of Old School at the moment. Old School has taken both pole positions, if I remember correctly. He did take the pole in Bahrain, and he did take pole... Oh no, he didn't take pole in China, did he? No. My mistake. He was the lead driver on the medium tyres, so he was the pole position man of the medium runners. We'll say that.
Yeah.
That's a better way of saying it. But he qualified in 10th place on the mediums, and that strategy at China really worked out for him. And coming into Spain, Spain's obviously a little bit of a different track to what we've had so far this season. China and Bahrain, good tracks for overtaking. Spain, not necessarily known for its overtaking opportunities, but it is known for its difficult strategy. There's a lot of this track is really based on being on the right strategy, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It is, and it's at least in my eyes, it's an incredibly tricky track. A couple of really fast corners and some dips in the track. So, yeah, a track to look out for. And if you get it right, if you can nail it, it's a beautiful track. If you're struggling, it's one of your worst nightmares.
Yeah, not a lot of room for error here. While there's grass and gravel, there's not really any tarmac runoff here until you get to the final sector of the lap. There is some at the first corner, but if you're going off at the first corner, then I think you might struggle a long way around the lap as well. We'll have a look as well who's going to be first out onto the racetrack. It looks like it is the Haas car of ILRT Damon taking part for the first time this season, so we'll wait and see what he can do. He will be the first person to start a lap. He's gone straight out onto the soft compound tyres, so that's one thing to look out for. Who goes out on the softs and who goes out on the mediums? We've got Jan on the track on the medium compound tyres and Kiki on the medium tyres as well. We might see some people maybe do invalidated runs on soft compound tyres. I know that in the past when I've league raced around Spain, I've done purposely invalidated soft runs before going on a medium run at the end of the session. And if you were racing tonight, Conti, what would you do in terms of tyre strategy and qualifying?
Yeah, I would definitely start on the mediums. I don't think strategy starting on the softs is viable. Two-stopper, don't think it's gonna work as well. So yeah, I would definitely start on the mediums and switch to the hards after that.
Yeah, we'll have to wait and see whether Mark can do what he did last time out and start on those medium tyres. Just miss out on a race victory, but still had a great race. But we're riding aboard then with ILR2 Damon for his first lap in qualifying and his first lap of the season. He now comes down this very long pit straight. It's actually quite a long straight, one of the longest ones down into the first corner of the entire calendar. Into turn one, about a fourth gear corner, gets into fourth gear nicely, short shifts up into fifth and sixth through turn two to null the wheel spin through the long turn three, which in modern Formula 1 cars is barely a corner anymore. It's so flat. He keeps it right to the right hand side for the shortest run to the end of the first sector, and now through a slightly banked turn four, coming out of the corner. It's a very long corner, and then into the downhill braking zone for turn five. Make sure you don't lock up an inside front. Keep it nice and tight to the inside, and now through the kink of six, not really a corner you think about, it's more of a braking zone for seven. Make sure that you don't lose traction midway through. It kind of rises over a crest in the middle of the road through eight, and now uphill into turn nine, nearly flat corner. Damon runs a little bit wide and loses the car just to get away with it. No, he doesn't. He's retired from the session after losing his rear wheel. I thought he got away with it for a second, but he's actually lost his rear wheel after a slight spin at turn nine. What a shame for Damon. First lap actually was looking like a pretty decent one, and he's dropped the car at turn nine, but like you said earlier on, that's so easy to do at Spain.
Yeah, it is. It's this corner and the two corners before this one. It's really easy to lose traction, and yeah, you see what can happen then. You can lose your wheel, and it's quali over.
And Flores, I think, has done the same thing in the McLaren. He's gone off the road on the exit at turn 9. Old School then the first person to do a lap, and it's a 15.2. Tekken crosses line on a 16.1 just behind him. So it looks like Old School's committing to the soft compound tyres. Kiki does a 15.8 on the mediums. That's a very respectable time. Goes ahead at Tekken. Jan does a 16.5, 7/10 of a second slower than Kiki on the same tyres. Alex now jumps into second place in the Ferrari on a 15.6. A good lap from Mark of 15.2, but you would expect pole position to be in the 14s around here.
Yeah, I do, and that's why I think he's going to go for a medium run after this one.
Maybe, yeah, see if he can get maybe into an even lower 15 or a high 14 on the mediums. We'll wait and see if he can pull that one off. Stumpy is going to be the next person to cross the line in the Alfa Romeo. He had a very good qualifying in the first round of the season. Second round of the season really didn't go his way. He kind of got stuck at the back of the field at the start. He was trying the same strategy as Old School. It kind of worked for him, but not quite as well as he would have wanted, and it's only a 17.9 from Stumpy. I imagine this qualifying session is going to get more and more exciting as it goes on. Isotopic next to cross the line. He's another one I think that's backed off on his lap at 16.1. So yeah, you can see these lap times not really representative from a lot of these people. Sean, once again, king of going out on the medium tyres in qualifying. He goes into 8th place, just behind Jan, who's also on the mediums. So that's one thing to look out for. Jan and Sean and Kiki look like they've already committed to the medium tyres, but it probably would be a smarter choice to go at the end of the session where the track's at its best.
Yeah, I would just get the feeling of the track. I would go out on the soft tyres, do some laps, and what you said, invalidate them, or just last corner, go off throttle, and save the medium for your last run, because the track is grippier then, and you can get faster lap times.
Yeah, that's one thing we have to wait and see. Still, no one really challenging Mark at the front of the field. That's Old School. Mark was his old PSN name. I got that mixed up a couple of times. But yeah, Old School currently on pole position, still by 4/10 of a second. So he's got a good enough gap back to Alex. Frederick is personal on that. We're following at the moment in the AlphaTauri. Has invalidated coming out of turn 9. So this will not count. But let's wait and see if he continues to push on this lap, and let's see where he can go. Bit of an understated start to the season for Frederick. It's not been too bad, but he's not been lighting up the timing screens in qualifying or in the races at the moment. So we'll wait and see whether he can do something here at Spain. He's got one of the racing points in front of him, but they're going to dart off into the pit lane. I believe one of the Red Bulls just crossed the line. That's Sean, who's done a second up on those medium tyres already, which is a little bit of a problem, as Frederick is a 15.3. That would have put him on the front row for the time being. It was a good lap. But Sean doing a couple laps now on the medium compound tyres, which I know that obviously the medium tyres can go a lot further into this race than the softs can, but even so, you'd still want as little running time on these mediums as possible, wouldn't you?
Yeah, you do. I mean, the less wear on the tires, the better, the more grippier they are, and the more consistent you can drive. Yeah, or he's just thinking, you know what, this game's made by Cody's, we're probably gonna have a glitch, I can start on the mediums and crash again.
Maybe, yeah. I mean, it's not out of the question. We've had it I think we've had it 3 out of 4 times last time I've commentated on League Racing TV. So yeah, it's been has been a bit of a common occurrence. We'll have to wait and see. Fingers crossed we don't get that glitch. B Morgan, another one that's backed off coming out of the final corner, so he crosses the line in 10th place on a 17.5. So we're still waiting really for the real representative times to be put in. Steve's out on the track on the medium compound tyres, so we will follow him around. Frederick and Lighty, Flores obviously out of the session. Simply Superman, another one that hasn't set a time in the session as of yet. Steve then coming up to turn 9. Let's see how he fares through the corner. Nice and neat through there. Doesn't touch the inside curve, doesn't run out too wide. That can cause you to spin, and that is what has put an end to Damon and Valores' qualifying session so far. Steve into the final sector, the most technical part of this track, coming through turn 11 and then round turn 12. Really, really a long corner. The left-hand side tyres here take a beating, especially in the hotter conditions. That front left tyre can really overheat. And again, Steve, a lot of curb on the inside there, had a little bit of a wobble through this reprofiled final sector, and now out of the final corner, turn 16. Not really a corner once again, more of a traction zone than anything else. Steve crosses the line on a 15.9, goes fourth fastest on the medium tyres. Good lap from him, but again, committing to the medium tyres maybe a little bit too early in qualifying.
Yeah, I believe so, and I believe this was his first lap, and it showed. I mean, there's still a lot more time to gain in the last sector where he took a little bit too much curve. Yeah, overall good time, but yeah, I think this is it. Or yeah, he can just wait out now, and when he's stumbling out of the top 10, he can choose to go to the softs.
Yeah, and that's
pretty late, but yeah, that's it.
That is the one good thing, is if you are going out on the mediums at this point, you can try and recover depending on what other people do in terms of tyre strategy. If a lot of people commit to the soft tyres, then you can maybe try the same and get to the front of that pack. Tekken's on another lap, meanwhile, in the other AlphaTauri. He's coming up into turn 9. He's again on the soft compound tyres. He's following one of the Mercedes cars around, I believe. That's Jan, who's on a soft lap at the moment. Tekken, fastest middle sector of anyone so far. He's a 10th up on his personal best through that part. He obviously made a mistake in the final quarter, all backed off in the final sector on his first lap. So let's see if he continues with this one, coming through the final part of the lap. Hops over that curb nicely, doesn't lose the rear of the car like we saw Steve do through that final chicane. Does he back off now, coming through this corner, through the final corner, coming up to the line. It looks like Jan's not backing off in front of him. Tekken does. Jan crosses the line on a 15.2. He definitely didn't back off. Tekken did back off and still set a 15.4. So Tekken's got a lot of speed in that car.
Yeah, I think he does. And yeah, this can believe something. I mean, we talked about Tekken before, the last race, and the race before that he came out of Division 5, which he won easily, and we're expecting a lot from him, and he didn't show it yet. Yeah, a glimpse of it. So really curious if this is going to be his race.
Yeah, we'll have to wait and see. I did notice in a couple streams ago that he mentioned that he had a broken pad, so he's been struggling with that all season long, and in the sprint championship as well. I think he said that something about his left trigger means that his braking isn't very consistent. Yono, meanwhile, has gone on to a 15.6 on the medium tyres as Old School commits fully to the soft compound tyres, a 14.4. That's a brilliant lap time from Old School, but he's now fully committed to those soft compound tyres. He's not waiting around to go onto the medium tyres like we thought he might do, and that's an interesting strategy from Old School. We saw him go for that alternate strategy at China, and it paid off brilliantly for him in the end. I mean, he gained the most places and was right in the lead battle when he started 10th on the grid. So I mean, it's weird to see him go for the primary strategy, really.
Yeah, well, I think he can be really if he can be really conservative on tires, it is a really viable and good strategy. But yeah, I would have expected him to go onto the mediums, because his pace on mediums is just really good. We could see that last race as well. So yeah, kind of surprising, but yeah, if he can make this work, why not? And a 14.4 is a really, really good time. I mean, it's faster than my time trial.
Yeah, that's an incredible lap time. I think if anyone's just joined this stream now, not knowing what's going on, people will think, why is Old School in this division? He's so far ahead of the rest of the field. But that is because not really anyone, apart from Jan, has set a competitive time, really. Everyone's kind of been backing off on their times. All the competitive times have been those on the medium tyres. Isotopic jumped up into 5th place on those medium tyres. Sean now goes 4th on a 4th 15.4 on the soft, so it looks like he's now committed to those tyres as well. Lighty crossed the line on a 19.9. He massively backed off before the line at the end of his lap, and Lighty coming off the back of 2 really good results, now up into 5th in the championship, 6th in the championship standings, and his first podium last time out, and a win on track, which obviously was taken away from him through a time penalty he received on track. But Lighty, another one to look out for, on some really good momentum at the moment, isn't he?
Yeah, it started the last two races, I believe, from last season. He started to pick up pace, and yeah, I've been telling everybody. I mean, even I began to doubt myself if he could do it, but yeah, he's just doing really, really good since the last two races last season, and yeah, performing great. And I think he's a real title contender this season.
He really is, and I can't pick out a title favourite at this point in the season. There's so many people that could be up for this
Yeah.
one. It's going to be such an interesting season. We're only on round 3. Steph coming around the final corner in the Haas to start a lap, to finish a lap on the mediums, crosses the line on a 15.8, goes into P9. Not the fastest medium time we've seen so far. All the 3 drivers in front of him, Isotopic, Yono, and Kiki, all of their best times were on the medium compound tyres. Kiki has put the softs on in the pit lane, but not actually left the pit lane since he did that first time. So lead medium runner at the moment is Isotopic on a 15.5, which is actually a fairly competitive time on the mediums, but you would expect someone to maybe go into a low 15 a little bit later on in the session.
Yeah, if they still have the tires, yeah, for sure. I mean, don't get me wrong, it is a really, really good time on the medium tires. But I think last run they can go a bit quicker.
Yeah, and it looks like Simply Superman might be about to take that title of fastest medium runner off of Isotopic. He set a purple middle sector. He's absolutely flying. Is the Alfa Romeo driver looking for his first win of the season? He crosses the line, and he doesn't actually go ahead of Isotopic, so loses a bit of time in that final sector. A 15.8 goes ahead of Kiki, but behind Yono and Isotopic. And Yono's another one we've got to look out for. He picked up his first podium this season last season in Russia, I remember. It was his first podium. And he's not really had a lot of good luck this season. It's not really gone his way, but this is definitely a good opportunity for him to assert himself as a championship contender, because we know he's got the pace to pull off some great races.
Yeah, he does, and it's a great racer overall. I mean, we've seen him last season. We've seen him pull over some crazy overtakes on incredible places. So yeah, he is a really, really strong driver. And yeah, but I think, to be honest, I think half the field, maybe more, is a title contender in this division. It's that close.
Yeah, it really is. I think any of the top 10 that you see here, or even anyone further down, I can't really count anyone out of a race victory this season. I think maybe the likes of Damon, who's obviously new to the season, he hasn't got up and running as of yet, and Flores, we know, is lacking a little bit of pace at the moment. But other than that, I could not tell you who is going to win a race going into each one. Jan, meanwhile, is on another lap. He's a 10th up on his personal best on the soft tyres. This might be his last lap, though, in qualifying, because there's only 3.5 minutes to go in the session. So he's gone out a little bit early, maybe to avoid all the traffic. But as I say that, he's coming up to the back of the 2 Renaults and an Alfa Romeo. But he now comes around the final chicane. Can Jan get into the 1 minute 14s? He's still on 15.2, 8 tenths of a second off pole. He will improve his time. It's a 15 flat, so he improves by just over 2 tenths of a second, but still on his 3rd lap on those soft compound tyres is still 6 tenths of a second slower than Old School. Old School's lap holding up pretty well. That is a brilliant lap time from him.
Yeah, incredible, incredible. I mean, we knew he was fast, but yeah, this is a real. It's just a wide gap between P1 and P2 in this division. It's massive.
Yeah, it's definitely the biggest gap we've seen all season long in terms of qualifying. B. Morgan's on a lap on the medium compound tyres, last week's race winner, so look out for him to try and repeat that today. He's now running in the middle part of the lap. He's got his teammate in front of him, but it looks like Harry Nowak made a mistake in the opening part of his lap, so he's massively backed off on his time. So he's obviously going to go for another run. He's actually giving his teammate a little bit of a tow down the back straight, which I've never seen before at Spain, a tow down towards turn 10. I wouldn't imagine it made that much of a difference, and B. Morgan gets a little bit squirrely coming out of turn 10. Lost a little bit of traction, but it looks like a decent enough lap so far for B. Morgan. Can this put him ahead of Isotopic? Isotopic has put the soft compound tyres on, but hasn't left the pit lane. So we'll wait and see whether he is going to commit to that. Simply Superman has put a set of soft compound tyres on as well. Here comes B. Morgan then around the final corner. What is the lap time going to be for him? He crosses the line, and it's a 15.6, so he goes ahead of Yono, but again behind Isotopic. Isotopic, still the fastest medium runner at the moment, has not left the pits as of yet on those soft tyres, so we'll wait and see whether he decides to do that or not, or whether he stays in the pit lane. Harry Nawag now is going to be the next person to go on those medium tyres. This will be his second lap though on them. The first lap though he backed off fairly early on, so he won't have taken a lot of life out of them. Lighty's on a lap as well in the Ferrari, I believe. He's actually in the final sector, but he's invalidated, so he's going to be going for another run as well. So we'll stick with Harry Nowag through the middle part of the lap. Jan has retired from the session. He wasn't able to get out with enough time left in the session to do a lap time. It does look like Isotopic might be staying in the pit lane actually, or has he just left the pit lane now as I say that? No, he's just left the pit lane now, but again on a set of medium tyres, so he's definitely sticking with that strategy of starting on the mediums. Here comes Harry Nowag then through the middle sector, and that's too wide coming out of turn 9, a little bit of understeer mid-corner, and that's invalidated his time, so Harry Nowag is not going to improve on 15th on the grid unless he goes for a third one on these tyres, which even if he does get inside the top 10 with that, would be a massive disadvantage for him.
Yeah, it is. It would be smart to back off now, because those tires are going to be too warm otherwise. It's Lighty just on a pretty good lap, I believe.
It looks pretty good. He's got a lot of traffic. He encountered a lot of traffic in the first section. It didn't seem to slow him down. A 49.5 in the middle sector is round about what Simply Superman was doing on his medium lap time. So this could put him into the top 10. So let's see if he can continue with that run. Lighty, we know, is good in qualifying, but qualifying at the moment is not really his strong suit. It's more his race pace. And as I say that, look at that. A lot of curb on the inside there of turn 13, and that's really cost him a lot of momentum. That's going to cost him a lot of lap time as well as he now comes up to the line. Where does Lighty put that car? Is it inside the top 10? It's not. It's only 14th. Crucial error in that final sector, and Lighty, that's going to be such a blow for him after a great result in qualifying last time out.
Yeah, it is, but seeing Lighty perform these last couple of races, I think he will bounce back in the race itself, as that's really is his strong point, and qualifying not so.
Yeah, qualifying not so, so we'll see if he can improve. We're now at the end of the session, so we'll wait and see what times everyone is going to be doing. Tekken's on a lap on the soft tyres. Can he improve on 5th place? No, he cannot. He doesn't improve on his time, so he stays 5th at the moment, and the last of the people committing to the soft tyres. B. Morgan's going for another lap on these medium tyres, which I find a little bit bizarre, because he seems to be already safe inside the top 10, so going for another lap seems like maybe a little bit of a waste of tyre life. As I say that, Steph now goes on a medium set of tyres. Steph does a 15.4. That's a brilliant lap time from Steph to go P6 in the Haas. Who else is on a lap time at the moment? I believe Old School's coming up to the line, but it doesn't look competitive for him. Kiki crossed the line on his third lap on those medium tyres and wasn't able to get inside the top 10. Simply Superman's on the softs, so let's see where he can improve to. We've got one of the Alpha Tauris as well coming up to the line. That will be Frederick, who still hasn't set a time in this session. He comes around the final corner. Where can Frederick put his car? He goes into P4 on the softs, which is a good lap time. B. Morgenstein, by the way, on his third lap on those mediums, put him third. As Isotopic.
Whoa, P4 on the mediums.
Wow, brilliant stuff from Isotopic as well. B. Morgan, currently third position on 3-lap-old medium tyres. Isotopic with a lap fresher tyres goes 4th, so that's great qualifying for those two. Who else is coming up to the line? And I think one of the Red Bulls maybe coming up to the line, but that might not be on a lap. No, it's an AlphaTauri, sorry, that's coming round the final few corners. But I think we're pretty much done with everyone in qualifying. We're just waiting, I think, for Lighty to retire or get into his pit box. But Old School on pole position by a country mile, but the problem for him now is he was probably expecting more of the soft runners to be in the top 10, and in the end, B. Morgan and Isotopic 3rd and 4th on the medium tyres.
Yeah, great laps from them. I mean, being 8/10 of P1 on medium tyres, great.
Brilliant stuff, and that really helps their strategy out, that they're not going to really be held up behind any soft runners at the start, apart from Jan, it seems, who's only just in front of him on the grid. But it's Old School on pole position by 0.6 of a second. What a massive pole margin. Biggest pole margin I think we've seen in Division 3 over the TTML history. Jan is in second place then in the Mercedes, then it's B. Morgan and Isotopic 3rd and 4th, Frederick 5th, Alex 6th, Sean 7th, Steph 8th, Tekken 9th, Yono 10th, Simply Superman the first person outside the top 10 in 11th, and it's Langfell, Kiki, Steve, Lighty, Stumpy, Harry Nowag, Flores and Damon, who both didn't set a lap time after a crash at turn 9 on their first run. But it's a little bit of a truncated grid. Usually we see obviously the likes of Old School at the front and B. Morgan as well, but apart from that, this is a bit of a jumbled up grid order.
Yeah, it is. Some people lower down who I would have expected higher up, and the other way around. And I'm a bit surprised that the guys who weren't in the top 10 didn't try to go into the softs to do a final lap. So yeah, maybe they really don't trust those tires. So I'm wondering, would there be guys starting on the hard tires then, outside of the top 10?
Yeah, that's going to be one thing to look out for. The hard tyres around here, I know obviously they last a lot longer and their pace isn't that too dissimilar from the medium tyres. I think despite obviously the wear you get on the softs and the mediums compared to the hards, the actual tyre performance between the tyres at this track isn't that big, as you've seen from B Morgan and Isotopic going third and fourth in qualifying. There's not a massive tyre performance difference, so I imagine a lot of people will start on the hard compound tyres outside the top 10, and obviously that will help as well with safety cars. And we have seen in the past, especially Hero Jokin, who unfortunately isn't here today, but in the Bahrain race he capitalised on that safety car massively, and it gave him a shot at the race victory, which he took with both hands.
Yeah, yeah. I believe he started in P17 back then, and finished first. So, yeah, a good timed safety car with a little bit of luck could get you right back into the race, especially on the hard tires. If everybody's gonna pit in front of you, you can keep out and you get the same tires under your car. Yeah, great stuff, that.
Yeah, I'm actually a little bit shocked though. Looking at the tyres that everyone's on, only one person is on the hard compound tyres, and that is simply Superman in 11th place. So he's the only one that's gone for it. I'm maybe a little surprised that maybe the likes of Lighty, Stumpy, and Harry Noirg didn't go for the hard compound tyres, because they are right at the back of the field, and we know they've got decent pace. So they could just go for that alternate strategy, try something different to gain places. But the fact that we've only got one person on the hard compound tyres is a little bit mind-boggling to me.
Yeah, yeah, same here. I would have expected at least half the guys outside of the top 10 to start on the hard tires, because they are really viable, and yeah, what you said, they're a bit slower, but not really a mile off the medium tires.
Yeah, I'm a little bit shocked by that, so we'll have to wait and see whether there's something going on in this race that we don't know about. Maybe there's going to be some mid-race rain that will come all of a sudden, and that's why no one's gone for the hard compound tyres. We'll have to wait and see. But the soft tyres, you can probably expect them to come in maybe around lap 6 or 7 to put on the hard compound tyres. Anyone that goes for the mediums from the softs at the start is definitely going for a two-stop strategy. So after this truncated qualifying session and this crazy grid that we've got, I don't know how you're going to predict this, Conti, but who are you going to go for your top 3?
Oh, yeah, it's really going to be a tough one, but I think, yeah, I have to go for the first medium runners: B Morgan P1, Isotopic P2, and Old School really looks fast, so I think he's going to take P3.
Yeah, I think I agree with you, B Morgan and Isotopic. I might actually swap them around. I think Isotopic might take the race victory today ahead of B Morgan in second place. Third place, though, I really don't think this soft hard strategy is viable, so I'm going to go for Steph in third place. He looks fast as well on those medium tyres, so we'll wait and see. But everyone is now lining up at the back of the grid. We just wait for Flores and Damon to line up in the final spots on the grid, and it does look like, fingers crossed, we are going to get a race start without any interruption. So here we go then for the start of the third round of the season here at Spain. It's been a great qualifying. It's going to be an interesting race. Who's going to get the best start off the front row? Really long hole, but the lights are out and away they go, and it looks a fairly even start. Jan actually looks like he's had a better second phase of the start, and we've already got front wing damage for someone that might be one of the Alpha Tauris that's broken their front wing. But down towards turn 1, Jan having a look down the inside really late on the brakes and gets it stopped. Jan takes the race. Old School into turn 1. Isotopic is up into third. B Morgan's lost out. Sean has had an incredible start in the Red Bull. He's up to fourth place. B Morgan down to fifth, losing 2 places at the start. Again, we see that for B Morgan, but he's back down the inside of Sean at turn 4, and it looks like he might get that move done. He forces Sean out wide. Sean still has the inside line for turn 5. Is he late enough on the brakes to make that move stick? B Morgan's going to try and fight his way all the way around the outside, and it looks like he might be able to have the grip to do that. Sean, though, still on the inside for turn 7, and finally has to back out of that move. So B Morgan gets back into fourth as Jan makes a mistake midway through turn 7 and 8, and they're side by side through turn 9, and Old School takes the race lead back from Jan, but up to top, trying to get down the inside really late on the brakes, but can't quite get there. Now on the move was all around goes Steph. Actually, he hit the side of Tekken's car and is fully spun, so from a great start he drops to the back of the field. Simply Superman on the hards has had an atrocious start as well. He's obviously had an error. He's dropped down to 18th from 11th on the grid. What a crazy opening lap. Jan stole it at the start, but a great opportunistic move from Old School. He's back into the race lead and already 7/10 of a second clear.
Yeah, as you were commentating on the top guys, I was watching a little bit further behind, and a lot of debris, a lot of wings for the likes of Stampy and Liangfeld and all the guys who are pitting now. Really unlucky stuff for them. And oh, I've got the grid. standing glitch now. I have no idea where everybody's riding. But yeah,
Fingers crossed.
crazy
Yeah.
start.
Crazy start. Fingers crossed that time a glitch will sort itself out. We have a yellow flag in the first sector. I think that's for Flores, who's made a little bit of an error coming out of turn 2. But Old School had a little bit of a fright at the start when Jan passed it, but he was able to get that pass after Jan made a mistake. So Old School back into the lead, trying to build a gap on those medium runners. Isotopic then gets ahead of B Morgan at the start. Sean's looking very racy, stuck right in behind B Morgan at the moment. This is the best we've seen Sean all season long so far. Tekken still holding his own as well, currently running in 6th place. Frederick and Steph say they're 1-2, but they should be able to, the timing screen should sort themselves out in a couple seconds time. But then it's Alex running in 7th place in the Ferrari. He's had a good start as well. Kiki running in 8th now. He's the next person on the medium tyres. Steve 9th. Harry Nawag is 10th. He's had a brilliant start from, I think, 17th on the grid. Jono is in 11th ahead of Lighty in 12th place. Damon 13th. He's had a good start from Stead last on the grid, I think Damon was. He's now running 13th, so he's had a great start as well. And Jono looks like he might be struggling with damage. He is. So Jono into the pit lane for the McLaren driver. What a shame for him. Looking for possibly a good result. Is not going to get it, unfortunately. Lighty now is under pressure from Damon, so Damon's going to try and go all the way around the outside at turn 1. Lighty looks to have great straight line speed. Damon trying to get the move done. Lighty late on the brakes on the inside, though. He cannot get the move done, can Damon? Oh, when he touches the curb on the inside of turn 2 and spins the car. I don't know if he's picked up any front wing damage because of that. Yes, he has. So Damon, from an opportunity at an overtake, spins the car on the inside of turn 2 and breaks his front wing. What a shame for him. It was looking so good, and we're going to have to come in and replace that front wing, which saves Lighty a little bit in this race. He's now running in 11th place, but a crazy start to this race, and already the order is so jumbled up compared to what it was in qualifying.
Yeah, it is. A lot of guys who had to pit early because of the damaged front wing or any other trouble. And yeah, for the guys like Harry and Kiki, they just jumped up the field and won a lot of places. So yeah, it's promising. Looks really promising for them. And now you can see Old School and Jen have a little bit of a gap to Isotopic, but in a couple of laps it's going to be a crossover point that the mediums will be faster than the softs, and I think they will come back hard.
Yeah, and it does look like we're starting to reach that phase, because look at the queue of cars forming behind Jan at the moment. It stretches really all the way down to Harry Nawag in 10th place. Lighty obviously a little bit detached after being stuck behind Yono, who had that front wing damage, so that's why he's a bit detached in 11th. But Isotopic is starting to swarm all over the back of Jan, who is struggling a little bit for pace. Sean seems to be pretty confident at the moment on the soft tyres. He's holding on nicely, but he is using quite a lot of his ERS to try and keep up with B Morgan in front. Tekken running in 6th, and Alex is the last soft runner in 7th place, holding their own at the moment, but you can definitely tell the advantage is starting to swing towards the medium tyres, as Kiki is looking very racy once again. A bit of a poor qualifying by his standards, as Steph sets the fastest lap of the race on an 18.4. That's a good lap time from him. But Kiki, a little bit of a disappointing qualifying, has been tantalisingly close to a podium in both races so far this season and hasn't been able to get it. This could be a great opportunity for him to finally get that first podium of the season.
Yeah, I can. I mean, his race pace is so incredibly fast. It's a really fast guy, but it's just his consistency. Sometimes he can over push himself and lose the car because of that. We saw that last race as well on China, where he wasn't battling but lost the car. So yeah, if he can keep it on track, he's a really fast guy, and yeah. You see now, I mean, he won so many places in just 4 laps, so yeah, really fast rider.
Really fast he is. It's down towards the front of the field. Isotopic trying to get past Jan into turn 1, but not quite close enough. Jan's really starting to lose pace, because look at B Morgan. He's starting to swarm all over the back of them as well, and Sean's right in there as well. So Jan really struggling, losing about 6 cents a second or so a lap to Old School in front, who is driving off into the distance a little bit. But remember, he's going to have to pit a lot earlier than the medium runners, and at the really a comfortable enough gap for him to be able to get to the end of the race on those hard tyres without any sort of pressure from those running on the mediums at the moment. So we'll have to wait and see if he can continue to extend that gap. Isotopic a little bit into the grass on the way into turn 7, but gets away with it. Langfell the first time penalty of the race, and that's another thing to look out for at this track, is time penalties can be very common. A lot of opportunities to extend the track, and that seems to be where a lot of people are going in this race. Some people at Langfell already with a time penalty, I think through turn 2 he might have picked that time penalty up, and now Damon with a time penalty through turn 2 as well. So That's another thing to look out for as well at this track is time penalties. That's going to play a big part in this race. Harry Nwag, meanwhile, in 10th place is becoming a little bit detached from Steve in front, but Lighty is not catching him, and Lighty is starting to become under a little bit of pressure from Simply Superman. So after Simply Superman made that mistake in the first part of the race, he's now starting to work his way forwards. Oh yeah, wow. Sean and Jan both into the pit lane. What lap is it now? It's the end of lap 5. They're going to have to do 28 laps on the hard tyres. I get that the hard tyres can last a long time, but that is a big ask as B Morgan and Isotopic side by side, and B Morgan's going to get the move done. Round the outside of turn 2, B Morgan back up into second place ahead of Isotopic. He lost out at the start, but he's worked his way back through. He's now runs in second place. Can he start to close the gap down to Old School in front? Old School's burnt through all of his ERS trying to build this gap. Can B Morgan start to close in on him? But end of lap 5 tyres, that is a massive ask, and actually they haven't even gone for the hard tyres. Jan and Sean both gone for the mediums, so they're fully committed to a 2-stop.
Oh yeah, I didn't even see that. Yeah, so yeah, they have to go for a 2-stop now. So they really have to hope for a safety car. I mean, I don't think they're gonna make up the time on these medium tires to for the second pit stop. But yeah, Old School really flying. But I just think he's gonna push these tires over the edge, and he has to come in pretty quickly from now on. As B Morgan is starting to get a gap to Isotopic, so he's definitely faster at this point.
Definitely is, yeah. B Morgan looking the fastest of the medium runners. Isotopic just not quite having the same pace. Tekken and Alex staying out on the softs. They're doing a decent enough job, but Alex is trying to defend from Kiki down in towards turn 1. Trying to go around the outside, but there's not enough room to get that move done. But you can already tell the soft runners are struggling. Look at Steve trying to get through now around the outside of turn 3. Trying to get the move done, but not quite close enough as that's that Lighty. Lighty's spun now at turn 2. Another person falling foul of turn 2. Lighty spins out of 9th place, drops behind Simply Superman and behind Flores as well. So Lighty's race not going any better than his qualifying did, down into 11th place. That puts Simply Superman on the hards now up into 9th, so he's recovering well after that first lap drama for him, as Isotopic now picks up a time penalty. And in the last couple of laps, a lot of drivers have picked up time penalties, so that is clearly going to play a massive part in this race. Meanwhile, look at the gap for the lead. B Morgan really starting to close in on Old School now.
Yeah, he's really reeling him in fast. So I think Old School is gonna make his pit stop this lap. He has to, or he's gonna lose a lot of time to B Morgan. And yeah, turn 2, it's a really tricky one, because you can ride the curb on the inside, but if you do it on half throttle, you gain a lot of time. But if you just go over the curb with your left front tire, you're just gonna lose your car. You're gonna spin there, so you have to be really careful riding that curb.
Yeah, a lot of people falling foul to it. A lot of people making mistakes in this race so far. It's not really been the cleanest of races for a lot of people today in terms of trying to get through the race without any sort of incidents. And I think we've just had someone go off. Yeah, Damon's gone off now coming out of turn 8. So he's, I think, gone into the wall by the looks of things. So his race goes from bad to worse to utterly horrible. Yeah. Unfortunately for him. Tekken, meanwhile, pitted off of the soft tyres. He's also gone onto the medium. So none of the drivers that have come in from the softs have gone onto the hards. So I don't think any of them think that the hards can get to the end of the race from that point.
No, but to be honest, I think they can take this gamble, because a lot of people are spinning and losing the car. So it's just waiting for an accident to happen and a wheel to come off the car for a safety car. And I think they're just waiting for that opportunity and go for the hard tires then.
Old School stayed out another lap. It's massively cost him. He's waited too long. Look at the gap. 1.4 seconds. B Morgan's over a second a lap faster than at this point. Old School's got to come into the pit lane, and he does at the end of lap 8. Oh, and he slides the car in the pit lane. And I don't know if he did any damage from that. I think he might have done, as Damon's retired, unfortunately, in the pit lane. And I think Old School did pick up damage. So a crucial error. Stayed out too long, and it cost him grip, and he slid into the pit wall. And that's thrown away a possible opportunity at winning this race.
Yeah, his front wing is damaged, but he's going for the hard tires, so he thinks he can take them to the end. But yeah, it just costed him so much time.
He's now behind Jan and Sean, and he probably will be behind Tekken as well. He now comes out of the pit lane. Where does Tekken feed out in front of him in this? He's behind Tekken. He's lost so much ground. Past a net probably P6 or 7 on track once everyone makes their pit stops. So he's going to have to hope for some carnage in front of him, but that puts B Morgan, Isotopic and Kiki and Steve as well, all in a really good position as Harry Nowak is now overtaken by Simply Superman, so he's starting to come through on his hard compound tyres where he could have been without that first lap skirmish for him. He's starting to work his way forwards nicely. Now sets after Alex. Alex is still going on those soft tyres, so fair enough to him. And it's not like he's lost massive amounts of pace. He's dropped behind Steve, but other than that, he's not losing a lot of time at this point. But in at the end of this lap to put on the hard comp tyres. But the medium tyres now definitely in the better phase. It's now all about what Simply Superman can do.
Yeah, really props for Alex for still going on these tyres. He's hitting now. But yeah, really a lot of guys struggling on this track. What's really surprising to me, because a lot of these guys are just really good drivers and consistent drivers. So didn't expect so many guys to spin and go off, as Lighty is trying to get past Flores.
Ooh, trying to go around the outside, and Flores gives him just enough room, but there's a little bit of wheel-to-wheel contact there, so Lighty can't get the move done. And fair enough from Flores. Flores is having a good turn of pace today. This is looking like his best run of the season so far. Lighty, all of a sudden, after a great couple of opening rounds to the season, really struggling for pace here. He's not got the grip. He had a spin earlier on, and he didn't have a good qualifying either. And now he can't get past Flores, and he's being caught by Lighty. We have a yellow flag in the second sector. That was Kiki. So Kiki has now made a mistake, and he's gone off the road. So just like in China, he's spun out. He's not quite spun out of a good position, because he's still running in fourth. But that now puts Steve in third place, and I don't know where on earth Steve has come from, but all the carnage has happened around him, and all of a sudden he's now in third place.
Yeah, like a ninja, he just avoided everything, and he's up to third. And yeah, we know he is a really good driver, and it shows here. I mean, nobody's paying attention to him. At least I wasn't until just now. And he's doing his own thing, and
here comes Kiki,
driving
though.
a good race.
Kiki coming back at him, though, down the straight, and Kiki has great straight line speed and just breezes round the outside of him in turn one. And Steve, just as we were talking good about him, the curse has come, and he's another one to fall foul of turn two. Gets away with no damage, but spins out of fourth place, down to sixth behind Harry Nowak. In the background, Flores and Lighty side by side, and Lighty into the side of Flores and spins her yet again. What a disastrous race this has been for Lighty, and he resets the track as well, which might be a penalty coming his way. He now drops behind Old School, who's obviously already made his stop in this race. But what a shame. This race has gone horribly wrong for Lighty. He'll be hoping for maybe a late safety car to bring himself back into play. Update, meanwhile, on the people that have pitted. Jan still leads of those people that pitted, but he has been caught quite heavily by Sean. I'll tell you what, Sean, this is definitely the best pace he's shown all season. He's flying along at the moment in the Red Bull.
Yeah, incredible. I mean, I've raced him a couple of times, and he has a really fast drive. He just didn't really show it yet, but this is a great race, and I think he's probably enjoying himself and doing his thing. But I have to say as well, I mean, he didn't pit yet, but Flores is doing a great job as well today.
Yeah, it really is. Isotopic, meanwhile, second place in the race, is into the pit lane for a set of hard compound tyres, so we're only able to get to the end of lap 11 on the mediums, let alone so only 11 laps on the mediums. That was only 3 or 4 laps longer than what Old School was able to manage. So where does he come out onto the track? Where is his battle? He's going to come out ahead of Flores, and that is crucial for Isotopic's race, that he gets ahead of Flores into turn one. Flores around the outside of Isotopic. That's so close, and you know what? Flores is going to pull that one off. Good move from Flores. Can Isotopic try and get past him, maybe towards turn 4? This is crucial for his race, that he gets past so that he's not held up behind. He darts down the inside for turn 4. Can he get the move done on the McLaren man? I think he can. Yes, he can. He's got the grip. Flores can't fight it around the outside, and Isotopic then into 5th place. And now Jan is directly up behind the McLaren, but crucial for Isotopic's battle with B. Morgan, but he stayed ahead of the McLaren coming out of the pits.
Yeah, incredible. These guys, they showed so much respect, and you could see it in the way they battled each other. And yeah, great stuff from Isotopic, and Jan now getting hauled up by Flores together with Sean. So yeah, they really have to overtake him quickly now to not lose too much time to Isotopic.
Yeah, really crucial for their races as well. But Jan stuck a little bit. Just went with Old School as well. Tekken's obviously starting to close in on Sean and Jan as they start to battle, as B. Morgan's now into the pit lane. So Kiki now leads this race. I don't know how many people we've had leading this race so far, but it's been so all over the place this race at the moment, and Simply Superman is closing in massively on Kiki at the moment, so Simply Superman's got some real good pace on those hards. As now Jan goes for the move on Flores very early down the straight, and he's going to get the move done. And Jan's got a good amount of ERS in reserve, but here comes Sean all of a sudden with great straight line speed. He's going to get past Flores as well, so 2 for 1. Both of them get past Flores down towards turn 1. As the yellow flag is at 3 as Yono has had yet another spin, and he now drops into 17th place and dives into the pit lane at the same time as well. Stumpy's into the pits for the second time in this race as well, so both of their races not going their way, unfortunately. But what I was saying before that, Old School, obviously Tekken's starting to close in on Flores as they all start to battle. Old School currently running in 10th place, not dropping Lighty, who's on 12 lap old mediums, and not closing in on Tekken, who's on medium tyres. So Old School, having put the hard tyres on, seemingly struggling for confidence.
Yeah, he does, and it's not really weird that he isn't gaining a lot of time on Tekken because his medium tires are just 4 laps old, but that he isn't able to drop Lighty says either a lot about Lighty being fast but making too many mistakes, or Old School just doesn't have the confidence like he has on the soft tires, because he set a real great time on the soft seat quali. So yeah, not looking too good for him right now, but who knows, in a couple of laps when the mediums will wear, he can come back into this, but at the moment it's not looking too good.
At the moment, not quite. Harry Nawag, meanwhile, comes into the pits for a set of hard compound tyres. He's going to come out behind Alex, I think, in this race. Pretty close to Alex as they come out the pit lane, but Alex is just going to be ahead of Harry Nawag in their battle. So Alex maintains that place ahead of Harry Nawag, and Frederick is directly behind as well. But he's on 11 lap old medium, so he's going to have to pit again in this race. And he pitted very early on, I think, for front wing damage on the opening lap, along with Steph, who also pitted, running in 14th. So a lot of fast drivers really struggling in this race. It's been topsy-turvy, and at the moment, it does look like B. Morgan's the man to beat here. He's now 2 seconds clear of Isotopic after making his one and only pit stop in this race. So he's looking pretty comfortable at the moment, looking for his second win of the season. I think really the only way that this could be stopped is if there's a safety car, or if when Simply Superman pits for a set of medium tyres you would expect, his pace is going to be insane. So I think that's the only way that B. Morgan's going to get stopped in this race, unless he makes a crucial error himself, as Kiki now into the pit lane. Furthest that anyone's been able to get on those medium tyres, he took them 14 laps. So his tyres should be fine towards the end on those hards, but now crucial as to where he comes out in this race. I imagine he'll probably come out relatively close to his teammate.
Yeah, it probably does. And what I was wondering as well, I mean, Jan is really losing tons of time now to Isotopic. Isotopic really has space on these hard tires, but isn't able to stay with B. Morgan. So yeah, watching Jan's pace drop, I think Sean will come into play really quickly, because he's putting under pressure on Jan at the moment.
He really is. The problem, though, really for Jan, Sean, and Tekken here is to make this two-stop strategy work, you've now got to be with Simply Superman on track, and they're 15 seconds or so behind, so it's not working out for them. And I'm surprised that Jan went for this strategy, because he went for the two-stop in China as well, and it did not pay off whatsoever for him. So a little bit surprised that he's gone for the same strategy as Yonos now sets the fastest lap of the race. On a set of soft tyres, he'll probably have to pit again. Those tyres won't make it to the end of the race. We were right with Kiki's prediction. He comes out right ahead of his teammate, just behind Tekken on track. So obviously the 3 drivers in front of him will come into the pit lane. So Kiki at the moment, despite a half spin earlier on and starting a bit further down, I think he started outside the top 10 in 12th place. Even so, after the medium runners pit and after Simply Superman pits, Kiki's in a net 3rd place. Yeah,
he's doing great, and now let's hope he can hold on to it and
he's got to move on Tekken here. Tekken's already losing grip on his medium tyres. Look at the run that Kiki had coming out of turn 16. He's already passed. Breezes past the AlphaTauri man in a straight line, and is now up into 6th place on the road. Puts a car between himself and Old School. So Kiki looking very strong here. This is what we saw from China last time out. Kiki really, with the pace he's shown, should have 3 podiums at this rate. It's just not gone his way, but looking very strong at the moment. His next target's obviously Sean and Jan, both still on the medium compound tyres. We've just got to keep an eye on what Simply Superman's doing, because he's still out on the track, has not pitted yet, and we'll imagine he'll pit for the medium tyres in probably about 4 or 5 laps time. But looking at Simply Superman's pace, he's matching his personal best, and he's not really slower than B. Morgan, but B. Morgan's not really catching Simply Superman at this point.
No, he's just really he's driving a superb race, and a bit unlucky at the start of the race, but yeah, he's just doing good. And what this wasn't his starting tire, right? He did have some trouble at the first lap, didn't he?
Yeah, he had trouble on the first lap, so he started on the hards in 11th place, but I think got involved in that little bit of a skirmish at the first corner. Ended up down in last place, bar a couple drivers, I think. So he obviously dropped towards the back at the start, but he's worked his way through all the carnage, worked his way forwards, kept out of trouble. Still running at the moment. I think B Morgan was only 0.2 of a second faster on that lap, and there's 13 laps difference in their tyres. So Simply Superman doing yet again a very good job on the alternate strategy. And the good thing for him at the moment, Jan and Sean really could save Simply Superman's race, because Simply Superman was only about a second behind Kiki when Kiki came into the pit lane, and Kiki's obviously now come out directly behind this battle with Sean and Jan. If Sean and Jan stay out for maybe another 3 or 4 laps, which they're probably going to have to do to make their second set of mediums last to the end of the race, if they stay in front of Kiki and Kiki's held up and they start to lose pace, Simply Superman could jump the lot of them and end up in a net 3rd place.
Yeah, he can, he really can, and yeah. So, but yeah, Kiki is really fast in a straight line, but yeah, he's the second car in the DRS, the little DRS train they are forming now. So yeah, if he can get past Sean relatively quickly, then the lap after, I think he's gonna overtake Jan, and he isn't in that big of a problem. But if he can't do that, yeah, he really is in trouble, and Simply Superman is probably gonna end up in front of him.
Yeah, we'll have to wait and see. Simply Superman actually pulled away from B Morgan on that lap, so I'm amazed he's got this pace. He's got no ERS, so you can definitely tell that he's trying to push on these tyres. But for 17-lap-old hard compound tyres, Simply Superman is doing a sterling job of keeping the pace up. Meanwhile, Old School is going to get a move done on Tekken down towards turn 1 and through turn 2. So Tekken's tyres are now starting to go off, it seems. He's another one on that 2-stop strategy, and it's just not working for him at the moment. He drops now down into 8th place. Old School gets ahead, but in all of that chaos, Old School is losing a lot of time to his teammate, who was actually trying to go for a move on Sean here around the outside of turn 5. But Sean's going to defend the line, and now Kiki's going to try and go for the switch back towards turn 7, but doesn't get the traction out of the corner, can't get the move done. And this is crucial for Kiki's race that he gets the moves done as early as possible, but like you said, being second in a safety car queue is incredibly difficult to overtake, and Kiki just stuck a little bit around this track, and it's notoriously hard to overtake at this track at the best of times anyway, so he now might get caught by his teammate. And you can see Tekken really losing pace as well at the moment, starting to drop off the back of Old School. Simply Superman continues a good run of form. He stays out for yet another lap. We'll probably see him in maybe at the end of the next lap to put a set of medium tyres on. And another thing I've noticed as well, B Morgan not pulling away from Isotopic anymore. Isotopic starting to close back in on the Renault driver. Yeah,
a couple of laps ago it was a little bit over 2 seconds. It's 1.8 now. So yeah, if he can just keep this up until the end of the race, they will be battling for a P1 finish.
Yeah. It's going to be a really interesting fight between those two to see who comes out on top. Tekken only able to manage 10 laps on the medium tyres, and he's in again. So he's going to have to take these tyres 15 laps in this race. That is a tall order for Tekken. I think he should have just taken the pain, gone another couple laps longer in this race and then pitted, so that you didn't have to worry about tyre wear at the end. He comes out onto the track just ahead of Lighty in 11th place, so he's got a lot of fresh air in front of him, and that bodes well for when both Jan and Sean come into the pit lane. They're going to have a lot of fresh air, and unfortunately Steve has left the lobby in 10th place, so that's fingers crossed he can join back, but he will obviously be running a lot slower pace than other people around him as his AI car takes over. But back to the front of the field now, Simply Superman is now starting to lose a lot of pace. You can see it, 12.3, 12.1 now through the middle sector, and Simply Superman is not into the pit lane. Sorry, I thought he was going to come in. He stays out for another lap, but all of a sudden, B Morgan is now starting to gain 6 or 7 tenths of a second a lap. So obviously the hard tyres have hit quite a heavy cliff.
Yeah, that's the problem. I mean, hard tires, you can go really, really long on them, but when that point is there that they go off really, really fast, and you have to be careful not to lose your car, because it will feel like driving on ice. As Kiki still isn't able to get past Sean. He's really, really almost pushing him around turn 1 and 2, but isn't able to overtake him. So it's costing a lot of time now.
Yeah, really struggling. Alex, meanwhile, gets moved on, and Harry Noir goes up into 8th place. But the worry here really now is seeing this massive pace drop-off that Superman has all of a sudden had. Goes to show that only 19 laps in his tyres, you can't pull it off. And oh my word, Stumpy's out of the session. And do you know what? That has massively helped his Alfa Romeo teammate, who could dart into the pit lane for a fresh set of medium tyres. It's like Bahrain all over again. Simply Superman, the gift of a century out in the race seat, is going to come in for a set of medium tyres. He will probably still get passed by B Morgan and Isotopic just based on how close they were, but he could still come out ahead of Jan. This has helped Jan and Sean as well win their battle, because they can pit for a fresh set of medium tyres as well and start to work their way through. So all of a sudden, once again, this race has flipped on its head. And like I said earlier on, the only way that B Morgan was going to get stopped in this race is if we get some sort of safety car. And lo and behold, it's happened. And simply Superman, a massive gift. And B Morgan's into the pits. So he's not staying out. Isotopic's into the pits as well. So all of a sudden, an advantage to simply Superman in this race.
Yeah, it is. And I think Tekken is just devastated. He just pitted a lap too early. If he would have waited one lap, he could have gone on the fresh tires as well. But yeah, everybody's going for the soft. What? I stopped going for the soft tires.
Oh wow, that is a bold strategy call from Isotopic. He's going to have to hope that he can clear B Morgan and Simply Superman fairly quickly, and then try and gap them and save the tires to the end. But wow, 13 laps on a set of softs, that is nigh on impossible around Spain.
Yeah, I don't think he's gonna... I think it has to be a mistake. I mean, he isn't gonna take these soft tires to the end. He just can't. I hope he can, but I don't think he can.
Yeah, I really struggle to believe that he's going to pull that off as well. It does look like the safety car is going to be out for quite a while just because of how spread out some of the field is. So he might get a respite in terms of how many laps behind the safety car we have. But even so, that is a tall order to get those tyres to the end of the race. If he can pull it off, then fair enough. But Isotopic was running in a very comfortable 3rd place at that point anyway, so a set of medium tyres would have done him fine. Tekken in 8th place after pitting a lap earlier, and as if Old School's race couldn't get any worse, he double stacked with his teammate, so he drops from a net P5, P6 in this race, now down into 11th place, and behind Lighty. Lighty the only one who didn't, well apart from Tekken, Lighty the only one not able to take advantage of the safety car, didn't pit, and now he's the only one on the track on the hard tyres. He's going to be hoping that everyone in front of him on the mediums really struggles for grip, but even so, I just don't think that's going to be the case.
Yeah, I don't know, and I'm just noticing, wasn't Jan in front of Sean? Who was in front of Sean?
He was, yeah. So Sean's actually jumped Jan in this, and Kiki's jumped Jan as well, so Jan's lost out massively, and Sean, all of a sudden, massive opportunity for him to pick up his first podium in this championship.
Yeah, it's great stuff from him. But Jan has to be hold up in the pits or something, because he was in front of both of them. But yeah, just crazy stuff. This every time a safety car comes out this late in the race, it's just gonna hustle things up, and simply Superman taking real advantage of this. But I'm really curious, and I hope he will message me after this race what Isotopic wanted to do on the soft tires.
Yeah, this is a real crazy strategy from him. It looks like the safety car could come in at the end of this lap, because the rest of the cars are quite close to the back of the queue now, so this seems like a very odd strategy call for Isotopic. If he made this on purpose, it's very odd. If it was by accident, and that's such a shame for him, because these softs are not going to get to the end of the race from this point onwards. He's going to really struggle. He's going to have to hope not to get a puncture later on in this race, but that could be an opportunity of his first podium of the season out of the window, unfortunately. So we'll have to wait and see how this race continues on, but simply Superman now in a great position to steal the race victory off of B Morgan, who had it in the palm of his hands all race long, and now Simply Superman has the opportunity to win this race. And Simply Superman's actually just put a comment in the stream saying that's why you alt strat, and that is exactly what we were talking about before the start of the race. Going on that alternate strategy can pay off massively, especially around tracks like this. Yeah, it does. I mean, this shows, and same in Bahrain with what's it again? Hero Jokin, yeah, Hero Jokin. This is why I personally love the alternate strategy. Yeah, so let's see what Simply Superman can do then. Safety car is in at the end of this lap, so we will have 11 laps left of this race, so everyone should be flat out to the end, and Simply Superman's going to go after the chicane. B. Morgan reacts, but not well enough to be close enough down towards turn 1. Isotopic actually under pressure on those soft tyres. You would expect him to be making moves, but look at Sean. He's already trying to go for that podium spot on the racing point, and look out for Kiki as well, trying to nick it off the pair of them. They go 3 wide into turn 1. Who's bravest on the brakes? Kiki backs out. Sean down the inside. Isotopic has the grip to hold the line around the outside, but he should have been the one making moves at the restart. He's the one that's nearly losing places at the start. He falls nearly into the palms of Sean, but they aren't able to get past. And now Isotopic can set his sights on B. Morgan. Isotopic really going to struggle with that restart, but let's see what you can do on those softs now. B. Morgan, after the safety car restart, lost heaps of time to Simply Superman already. Yeah. Simply Superman is pushing like hell on this opening lap of the safety car restart just to try and gap B. Morgan and get him out of DRS range behind. B. Morgan saving a little bit more of his DRS at this point, but he will be under pressure from Isotopic very soon afterwards. Sean still runs 4th ahead of Kiki 5th, Jan 6th, Alex in 7th, Tech in 8th, Harry Noir 9th, Lighty rounds off the top 10 on those hard tyres. Old School under pressure, not attacking Lighty, under pressure from Steve, and a virtual safety car for no apparent reason, it seems.
Yeah.
I'm a little bit surprised as to that. Maybe there's some sort of debris on track that's triggered that virtual safety car, but yeah, surprised that this has come out. But anyway, a little bit of a respite on that safety car restart, but an amazing safety car restart for Simply Superman.
Yeah, incredible. He had a gap of a Kiki has left the session.
That is such a shame for Kiki as the virtual safety car has ended. Oh, and Steve's retired. Steve has crashed at the safety car restart as he tried to avoid someone running into the back of them at the restart and has ended up in the wall. What a shame for Steve. Joined back in the session after a disconnect and is now out of the race, and Kiki out of the race in terms of him not being here. So yet again an opportunity at a podium for Kiki slips from his grasp.
Yeah, it is at his own hands now, and I really hope this doesn't get any glitch into this as well. I mean,
fingers crossed.
But Simply Superman, yeah, great restart. B. Morgan was just sleeping behind the wheel because at the end of the straight, Simply Superman already had a second to B. Morgan, and B. Morgan is going to be in a lot of trouble with Isotopic behind him on the soft tire. So, yeah, this is what Simply Superman was hoping for, I think. B. Morgan and Isotopic are going to battle. Maybe Sean is going to mingle in it, and
we do have another virtual safety car. It does look like we might have some sort of lobby glitch then. We've got a second virtual safety car in the same spot, 2 laps in a row, so it looks like we might have a lobby glitch. But I tell you what, this could help Isotopic get those soft tyres to the end of the race. The fact that we keep having to back off for certain things, and there's a lot of debris coming out of the final corner, so it looks like that's maybe what's triggering it. That's debris that's just not been cleared. I noticed that behind the safety car that there was bits of front wing scattered across the final corner, and it hasn't been cleared since, so that might be what's triggering it, the fact that that debris hasn't been cleared. So the end of this race might be tainted a little bit by a few virtual safety cars coming one after the other. We'll have to wait and see if they continue. Fingers crossed they don't. We obviously want a clean one to the end of this race, but we'll have to wait and see. Simply Superman then still leads 1.6 seconds ahead of B. Morgan in second place. Isotopic on the soft tyres though. Obviously we've had 2 virtual safety cars, but Isotopic not really making any inroads into B. Morgan's advantage.
No, which is surprising to me, because they are so much grippier. I mean, they fall off really relatively fast, but they have so much more grip, especially in the first and the last sector, that I would have expected them to be really up into the gearbox of B. Morgan by now.
Yeah, I would have expected that as well. Sean still running in 4th. Jan massively detached now in 5th place. Obviously, Kiki starting to fall through the field as he's not joined back in the Savronacci's AI car. Nearly spun there through turn 11. Just goes to show how difficult it is. And yet again, another virtual safety car. Yeah, so we do have a glitch. Unfortunately, that it looks like it might take the end of this race, which is such a shame that this is going to happen. Yet again, another safety car. I might have to go on another tweet rant on social media about Codemasters here. It's becoming a little bit of a weekly occurrence, unfortunately, on this game. But yet again, we have another new glitch. I haven't seen this one before yet in a league race. This is the first time I've encountered it. But anyway, continue on with the race. Simply Superman then still leads. B. Morgan second, Isotopic third, Sean still 4th, Jan 5th then ahead of Alex. Jan's race has somewhat been saved by the safety car, but even so, he was ahead of Sean before the pit stops, and he is going to be gutted that he wasn't able to stay ahead of Sean in the pit stops.
Yeah, but still, he lost so much time now. Oh, safety car has ended now.
Yeah, and
He
look at
lost.
Tekken. Sorry to cut in there. Tekken trying to capitalise on it. Tried to go around the outside of Alex to turn 5, but just got forced out of road. So Tekken not able to make the move stick. But yeah, Tekken looking very racy on that safety car restart.
Yeah, as he almost lost the car, but Jen just it just doesn't seem like he have the pace that he normally has on this track on the same tires. I mean, Sean was behind him before the safety car in the pit stops, but he's just flying away from him now, and I don't think we're gonna see Jen back onto Sean this race.
No, we definitely saw in that second stint that Sean was definitely the faster of the two medium runners because he was stuck right to the rear wing of that Mercedes all time long. Isotopic, meanwhile, going for a move, and B. Morgan now trying to use the freshness in the soft tyres to get a move done on the Renault man down the inside of turn 1. B. Morgan leaves him the space. They run side by side, a little bit of wheel-to-wheel contact. B. Morgan side by side with them, and yet again, another virtual safety car. Stumpy has now left the session, unfortunately. Well, he's already DNF from the race, but here's a little bit of a problem, is that B. Morgan and Isotopic were side by side at the virtual safety car restart. I think B. Morgan had the spot, so he will hold on to it, and that has killed the battle between B. Morgan and Isotopic, and that will be really painful for Isotopic to see, because he could have had that move done without that VSC.
Yeah, he did, and if it was just a few centimeters in front of him, he would have had the place. But yeah, the other thing is, it's really saving his tires, his soft tires, behind the virtual safety car. As sad as it is to see this happen to the race, because Kiki's back.
Kiki's back, and I think I've just noticed something here. Lighty unfortunately passed Kiki's AI car behind the virtual safety car, and is now trying to let Kiki's car back through, and it just won't pass him.
Do it.
No, and Old School passed the pair of them at the safety car restart and got a 5-second penalty, but the gap he pulled on Lighty in the process means that he's safe actually to Lighty now after that virtual safety car restart. So yet another problem that Lighty tried to back off to let Kiki's AI car through and just wouldn't repass him.
Yeah, it's sad to see, but hey, we're racing again. Frederick and stuff were. What's going on? Oh, nothing. I thought they switched places, but yeah, let's hope Isotopic and B. Morgan can redo it, and we can see the battle again.
Yeah, fingers crossed for our sake as well that this glitch ends now. Fingers crossed we can get to the end of the race with no more safety cars. But just look at the track map, the gap that Old School has now been able to pull on Lighty and Frederick. That problem behind the virtual safety car restart. So his 9th place is pretty much sealed in this race now. But he has got a 5-second penalty against his name. So I think 9th at the moment is the best that Old School can get out of this. And from pole position, what a disastrous race for Old School.
Yeah, it is. But yeah. What to say?
It's just a shame, really, isn't it, that this has happened to him? But it all really came from a mistake in the pit lane.
Yeah, it did, and yeah, that's the trouble. That's it when you're not in a party with your teammate. Stuff like this can happen. I mean, you can see communication is key, and Formula One is a team sport.
Yeah, it really is, and it's just unfortunately not gone his way. Simply Superman. Lighty and Kiki. I think Kiki has retaken control of his car. B. Morgan with the fastest lap of the races. Look at Kiki trying to go down the inside of turn 12. I've never seen an overtake down the inside of turn 12, down the inside of turn 13, and he's going to get that move done. So Lighty, after that virtual safety car mistake, is now starting to lose speed in those hard compound tyres, and is just being swallowed left, right and centre. Next driver behind him is Flores, who's continuing an impressive run today. Definitely his best race of the season so far. He now goes down the inside of Lighty towards turn 1, and Langfell's trying to recover after a disastrous race for him as well. Is he going to try and get the pair of them into turn 1? He's going to be down the inside of Lighty. Flores runs a little bit wide in the braking zone. Lighty on the curb, and I think Langfell's going to get that move done. Yes, he will. So now it's just Yono that have a run at Lighty. Lighty trying to come down the inside though, up towards turn 4 on Langfell. Gets a great run down the inside, but I just don't think he has the grip to fight this one. Langfell round the outside will have the inside line for turn 5. Lighty is nearly fully alongside. He's almost forced onto the grass there by the Racing Point driver, but the Racing Point driver will hold on. It looks like, fingers crossed, hopefully touch wood, there's no commentator's curse, but we should be able to get to the end of the race with no more virtual safety cars. But yeah, Lighty on those hard compound tyres, what a shame for him. This safety car was a great opportunity for him to try and regain some of the places he lost after those couple of spins, and not pitting has massively cost him.
Yeah, and that's the danger. I mean, it's part of the glitch as well as Jono and Lighty are going side by side now.
Ooh, and Yono trying to go side by side through turn 11, slides and hits the wall, isn't out of the race, but Yono's race has been horrible today. For every corner it's just gone horribly wrong for him, and into the wall once again. Yono is not going to be able to fight any higher unless we get a late safety car in the next lap or so, but unfortunately Yono's race over and out really. 16th is the best he's going to hope for, and he'll be hoping to move on for the next round of the season. But back to the lead of the race meanwhile. B Morgan set the fastest lap of the race a couple laps ago, and all of a sudden B Morgan is slowly starting to creep back towards Simply Superman. This race is not over.
No, it isn't, and it's not really slowly. I mean, he had a couple of seconds, 2.5 seconds maybe, and it's just 1.4 now. So he's really come back into this, and Ice Topic isn't out of it as well, and still on 8 lap old soft tires, he isn't losing any time to B Morgan. So. And he has 4 seconds on Sean, so he's really doing good on these, doing well on these soft tires.
He's only got 3 laps left in this race, so it's feasible he could take them to the end. Those virtual safety cars could have massively helped him here. He's got a good buffer back to Sean. I think Sean will be desperate that he gets a puncture, because Sean will be on for a podium. Otherwise, he is running on his own, massively safe from Jan behind, who's now under pressure from Alex. Alex is starting to up the pace in the Ferrari, so he's going to try and go for a move on Jan down towards turn 1. Can he get the move maybe to the inside line? He darts to the inside line. Jan stays on the racing line. Will have the outside line for the corner. Jan very late on the brakes, locks up that inside front right tyre. But Alex is going to go clean around the outside of Jan at turn 2, and is going to pull the move off. Jan understeers a little bit through 3, and that's going to allow Tekken up the inside for turn 4. They're 3 wide into turn 4. That's really risky, and somehow they get away with it. But Jan losing pace and is now under pressure again from Tekken down towards turn 5. Tekken though can't get the move done, and remember Tekken's on 2 lap older medium tyres than everyone around him, so fair enough for him, he's doing a good job. But Alex now on the move up into 5th place. Good move from the Ferrari driver.
Yeah, and they're really giving it everything. I mean, they're braking on the edge, slight lockups here and there, and Alex, great move. He had a poor start in the first race, but really coming back into this one on P5. Great result from him, and it isn't over yet, because Tekken is still on the back of Jan, and really wanting that position.
Yeah, he's really going for it. Tekken coming alive in the second part of this race. Like you said earlier on, he will be gutted that he pitted a lap before the safety car, because without that, the pace he's showing could have been battling Sean for 4th, maybe even been in contention to steal a podium off of one of the top 3 here. And now Tekken using his overtake, trying to get past. He's going to go to the inside line once again on Jan down towards turn 1. Can he get that move done? They're late on the brakes into the corner, and Jan turns in. Tekken's still there, but they get away with it. Tekken, though, round the outside, picks up a time penalty in the exit of turn 2. He ran so wide, and he has so much understeer through turn 3 that he can't pull the move off. Meanwhile, behind him on track, Old School gets past Harry Nawag, so he's up into 8th place on the road. But remember, Old School has a 5-second time penalty for overtaking under yellow flag conditions, so you imagine that he'll probably cede that place to Harry Nawag by the end of the race. A lap and a half to go. B Morgan's charge towards Simply Superman is kind of stunted around 1.2 seconds. Obviously, I don't know what the penalty situation is for the top 3. I know Simply Superman definitely has one, and I think Isotopic has one. I don't know if B Morgan has a penalty or not. If he doesn't, that will be the 2nd race in a row where he steals a race win on penalties. But at the moment, in terms of on-track pace, Simply Superman seems to have this one covered.
Yeah, well, it's not completely done yet, but they are really matched. And but if I try to creep into the head of B Morgan, he really, last race he won because of penalties. I think he really wants to pass him in the race, but he has to do it fast, because this is the final lap, and not risk it too much, because Isotopic is still right on his back.
Yeah, he really is. And Isotopic, fair play, hats off to Isotopic.
Yeah.
11 laps on a set of soft compound tyres. Obviously, we had a few virtual safety cars in there to help him out, but even so, that is at least 4 laps longer. It'll be 12 laps by the time we cross the line. That's at least 4 laps longer than anyone at the start of the race was able to pull off. And he's doing it with decent speed, like he's not dropped off whatsoever. You can say, maybe arguably, he's been the fastest of the top 3 in this last part of this race, even with these tyres. So he's doing a brilliant job at holding on to the end of this race, and he's got a good buffer back to Sean behind. who looks set to come home with 4th place. He'll be disappointed to miss out on a podium, but even so, Sean's definitely his best race in TTML Division 3 so far. He'll be really happy with that, and that's another person you can throw into the ring, maybe not for the championship, but to throw up some surprise results. But coming round the final sector, Simply Superman, another person benefiting from the alternate strategy. We saw it in Bahrain, and Hero Joking took the win. Simply Superman will win on track. Will he win on penalties, though? Let's wait and see. Simply Superman crosses the line ahead of B Morgan. Here comes B Morgan, but B Morgan again for the second round in a row is going to steal the race victory on penalties.
And Sean P3.
He stole it off Isotopic on penalties as well. Did Isotopic? Isotopic got a puncture in the final few corners of the lap, and that cost him the time that he had over Sean because there wasn't a lot in it, and Sean stole the podium off of Isotopic because of it. What a turn of events at the end. Sean ends up on the podium. Isotopic with a puncture in the final sector misses out on 3rd place. It nearly worked for him, but it cost him in the end. Jan in 5th, Alex in 6th, Tech in 7th, Harry Nawag 8th, Old School 9th by 8 thousandths of a second. He nearly gapped Harry Nawag so much. Steph rounds off the top 10, and then it's Frederick. Kiki only 12th after disconnecting. Flores 13th ahead of Langfell. Lighty and Yono will be the last person to finish, currently running in 16th, having pitted, I think, for the 4th time in this race. What a crazy race his race has been. B Morgan, though, for the 2nd round in a row, will pick up a race victory because of a penalty. Simply Superman, 2nd time this season, finishes 2nd to someone else on the alternate strategy. So great for B Morgan, but gutting for Simply Superman that he won't get that race victory.
Yeah, he is, but overall, great racing from him. And yeah, I have to say it. We said it at the start of the race that Sean was doing great, so he gets a little applause from me.
That is, yeah, I have to give my hats off to Sean as well. Sean's been struggled so much, especially last season, to really break the top 10. He started to break the top 10 in pace at the end of last season, at the start of this season, but that is a massive turn of speed for Sean. And it's not like that P3 came at a fluke. That came on pure pace. He was third. He was third, one of the top fastest drivers today, and it came on pure pace. And it was a unfortunate puncture for Isotopic, but he took the risk by going on the softs, and in the end, it nearly paid off, but not quite. B Morgan then wins the race. He's a first repeat winner of the season. Simply Superman from 11th on the grid, 18th at the end of lap 1, comes home to finish in 2nd place. So nearly pulled off a Hero Joking strat. Sean from 7th on the grid on soft tyres on a 2-stop strategy, a genuine 2-stop strategy, comes home in 3rd place. Isotopic finishes 4th ahead of Jan in 5th. Gutted he will be to miss out on a podium. He was ahead of Sean the whole race. Unfortunately, got jumped in the pit stops. Alex in 6th ahead of Tech in 7th. Harry Nawag 8th. Old School 9th from pole position. What a shame that he picked up that damage early on. And Steph rounds off the top 10 ahead of Frederick, Kiki, Flores, Langfell, Lighty and Yoni are your finishers. Steve, Stumpy and Damon, all 3 of them not able to make it to the end of the race. All 3 of them with crashes. 2 of them at the final corner and 1 of them, I believe, in the pit lane. So a lot of a chaotic race. I think definitely the most chaotic race of the season so far. But B Morgan firmly asserting himself as a championship challenger.
Yeah, really doing great, and this shows if you keep your race clean, don't get too many penalties. It's really important if you want to be a championship contender. So yeah, just great job from him, and 2nd one in a row.
Yes, brilliant stuff from him, and that's Simply Superman's second place finish of the season as well. He finished 2nd to Hero Joking on the alternate strategy in Bahrain as well. And Sean becomes our 7th different podium sitter in 3 races. That is an incredible feat already, only 3 rounds into the championship. Last season, it was Mashiro, AMG, and to join us on the podium, it felt like every week, barring some sort of craziness. But this time around, we've already had 7 people on the podium. I think, if I remember correctly, last season we only had about 8 or 9 people in total end up on the podium in 11 rounds, and we've still got how many rounds is it left in this race? 7 rounds to go in the next one, I think. So we could massively beat that record this time round, and this championship is shaping up to be something incredible, isn't it?
It is. I mean, last season out, we could predict after a couple of races, or probably after 3 races, we could predict the real title contenders. I don't want to put a fiver on it for this season. It's so close, and so many title contenders. And I must say, hats off to Jono as well, who had really unlucky race today. But he finished the race, got the fastest lap, and got the points for P16.
Yeah, exactly. That is one thing as well to look out for. You have to finish a race to score the points, and even with a disastrous race like that, those points could massively count to Jono's championship position at the end of the season. So, fair enough to him. And looking at the standings going into this round, obviously Hero Jokin wasn't here, and he was our championship leader. Simply Superman was second, and B Morgan was third in the standings. So, I think it's fair to say that they might have asserted themselves as championship contenders. Other than that, the only real other person that had a good race in that one was Sean in the top 10. He's 10th, and he's going to massively jump up the standings after that round. So I haven't got a clue who is going to win this championship, which is brilliant. I think if you go into a championship knowing who's going to be at least the championship contenders, then it can get a little bit boring. But each round so far, we've had a different person end up at the front of the field, a different person be fastest. So this is going to be a great season. But before we go, Conti, who are you going to give Driver of the Day to today?
Wow, just like the championship, who's going to win the championship? Yeah, it's a really hard one. I mean, a couple of guys really deserve driver of the day. Simply Superman going on the alternate strategy, losing out on penalties, but still finishing on the podium is real contender. But I must say, just because he gave his racing a new kickstart, mine goes to Sean.
Yeah, I'm going to have to agree with you on that one. As much as B Morgan had a great race and a
Yeah.
clean one of that as well, and Simple Superman pulled off an audacious strategy, got a little bit lucky with the safety car, but still pulled off a brilliant strategy, even despite lap one shenanigans. That was such an upturn in speed for Sean this season, and that could really set the standard for him. It's kind of the upturn in speed we saw from Lighty has also come from Sean as well. Two people that really struggled last season, so who knows? Next round, Flores all of a sudden could start winning a race. We'll have to wait and see. But that was a brilliant race, and fingers crossed to get more like that as the season goes on. Tune in, obviously, to League Racing TV tomorrow for Division 4 and 5 races at Spain as well. CLC is still running as well on the weekends. It's touring cars on a Saturday and IndyCar on a Sunday. So looking for driver streams for that one. There is no official stream on League Racing TV, but look for driver streams for that if you want to watch it. And then we're back again next week for everything. Well, for everything that we've had this week, pretty much everything is back next time around. And next time around, fourth round of the season, we go to Baku. So, I mean, it's been a crazy season already so far, but Baku is going to be something else. I cannot wait for that. But thank you very much, everyone, for tuning into the stream, for driving today. Thank you again, Conti, for joining me in the commentary box. It's a pleasure to commentate alongside you. And from myself and Conti, we will see you again this time next week. Thank you very much, and goodbye.